Saira, Vinod, can we start?
Sairam, you can start now. And
Okay. Saira. Om. Om Sai Ishwaraya Vidmahe Satyadevaya Dhimahi Tanna Sarva Prachodayat. Om Sai Ishwaraya Vidmahe Satyadevaya Dhimahi Tanna Sarva Prachodayat. Om Sai Ishwaraya Vidmahe Satyadevaya Dhimahi Tanna Sarva Prachodayat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sai Ram to everyone.
Sai Ram, good evening to all the Sai devotees of Sai Sparshan. Today, the Satya Sai Aradhana, 10th Aradhana Mahotsava day, has been very auspicious and a holy day for all of us. And maybe I'm aware most of the devotees would have been busy all through from yesterday evening, seeing the various programs at Prashanti Nilayam, and there are continuous concurrent programs in different centers. And it is a kind of a wonderful opportunity for us at Sai Sparshan to have been able to utilize this Aradhana day also for the Sai Satsang. It's a coincidence that Saturday, today, the Sai Satsang day, has also been the Swami's Aradhana day. Because Swami has always been telling that Satsang is one of the modes of the Aradhana of Swami. And that's why today's talk will be more a dedication to Swami, remembering about his various Leelas and his message, which pinpoints about the topic of today. For more than the topic of today, a topic has been derived from the story of Swami. So we will go a little details into Swami's kind of introduction and Swami's life story and miracles and the siddhis, and then we will converge on to the topic. So today we are really fortunate to have had the blessings of Swami to be able to converge here and speak about Swami and offer it as a garland of one of our sevas to the lotus feet to Swami as part of our sadhana aradhana. Because this is a fitting kind of tribute that is being given. And as I have also seen the messages from Prashanti Nilayam in the last 2-3 days, there have been wonderful messages which pinpoints on the importance of this. And one or two just messages just to recapitulate Swami's thing on the Aradhana day. Often we are led away, sometimes very far away, by our monkey mind. We have been talking about the monkey mind, fluctuations of the mind, and what to be done. But by focusing our attention on the simple steps laid down by the Lord, we can tame this monkey mind. That's why taming the monkey mind is an important aspect in the satsang. We must practice staying positive and maintain a ceiling on our desires. We have also spoken on the ceiling of our desires, and maybe in our future topics on future satsang sessions, we will cover a little more on that. Because just because we have spoken once or twice about any of these topics, it's not sufficient. Because the desires will not go away like that. The desires or our anger and many of the qualities that we have spoken, it is just not easy to go away. So we'll have to constantly go on talking about it, finding out ways and means of wrestling it, reducing it, and also seeking the blessings of Swami to see that we get devoid of all these bad qualities so that we could elevate ourselves in our spiritual life. So Swami has said, you must practice staying positive and maintain a ceiling on our desire. We must let go of our excess baggage and realize the unity and oneness in all of mankind. The excess baggage is nothing but our attachments. So many things we go on acquiring and keeping it our prized possessions, thinking that they are going to help us, which is only an excess baggage. And sometimes in our flight or in our train journey, the excess baggage, you are either charged for it or you are taken out from you. And therefore, similarly, the excess attachment is a baggage, and we should understand about that. To understand the unity and oneness in all of mankind. We must love all of the creation of Swami unconditionally, not making a difference of this and this person and that person, this area and that area. Therefore, unconditionally develop purity and thus walk steadily on the path to divinity. Let us live life with the help of the guiding principles of Satya Dharma, Shanti, Prema, and Ahimsa. May we never deter from the right path while making difficult choices. There were many a time, a lot of the situations make us think what we should do. For being Sai devotees, are we going to take the proper road or proper route, or are we drifting away? This is a kind of a pariksha or the test for we Sai devotees have to stand by what Swami has told, steadily on the path of divinity. Let us live life with the help of the guiding principle of Satya Dharma, Shanti, Prema, and Ahimsa. May we never deter from the right path while making difficult choices. Let us pledge to always follow the path laid down by our Lord and the Master, Bhagavan Shri Satya Sai Baba, on this Aradhana day. And if we do that, and we can keep faith and travel the steps on the footsteps that Swami has left, then it will take us to really to Swami himself. And then one more quote was there, which was really appealing. So this is about the sadhana and aradhana, the importance of that. Sadhana is an exercise towards aradhana. The sadhana is the first stepping stone. Sadhana is a continuous process. Sadhana is not just one day, some particular time, and leave it. Sadhana is from the day of your birth to our end of our journey. And it should go on constantly, like certain exercises, certain breathing thing, certain pranayama, the digestion system, and all these things are kind of a continuous sadhana. Similarly, in the spiritual bhakti, bhakti is the standard quotient, and it should go on continuously, incessantly. And one more message I saw, the day of reckoning with our Divine Master has arrived today, the Aradhana day. We are all intensely and lovingly practicing the divine message each day, and we hope to culminate the Sadhana Aradhana on today, 24th. Each one of us will face our Divine Lord and report our saga of transformation. So that's what should happen. By this sadhana, then when we come to the Aradhana stage is a stage where we have transformed ourselves and no more bigger defects are there with us. We have washed away many of our sins, washed away our mistakes, corrected our defects, and we are being ready to offer the Aradhana Mahotsava. And we know that Swami insists on practice, and therefore each year we embark upon the sadhana, Aradhana, to progress and earn His grace. Therefore, this is a very important milestone, and Swami is to always lovingly talk about this. And he used to say that is what is required as a prescription. And Swami has told what is the prescription for the perpetual supreme bliss. That is the Brahmananda, not only Paramananda, it is the Brahmananda. Swami says, nothing can confer us as much Ananda, that is the bliss, the perpetual bliss, as virtue. Neither wealth, it will not give us anything big. That's what even Bhartrihari we learned last time. Nor material power, nor fame, nor scholarship. The highest virtue is humility, being humble, and being a sevaka, and being able to do seva. Surrender to God. Sharanagati. Sharanagati is the biggest prapatti. And therefore, Swami says, Patti, Prapatti, Apatti, and Sampatti. And then he says, finally, that you have to have Samprupti. If you have Trupti and Samtrupti. The highest virtue is humility, surrender to God. People speak of those who have no one to look after them as orphans or anatha. But Swami says, there is nobody like anatha. For everybody, I am the Natha, Sai Natha. God looks after everyone. So no one can be an orphan and need be an orphan. God alone is really the orphan because he has no Natha on him, above him. For who can claim that he is God's guardian? Dedicate your thought, word and deed to God. Do not treat some of your activities as done for God. See, many times for Swami's sake we do. No, your sake, our sake. We are doing any seva, anything for our sake, for our improvement and elevation. About dedicate your thought, word and deed to God. Do not treat some of your activities as done for God, God's sake, and others as done for yourself. They are both like the two halves of a pulse grain. The plant sprouts on the middle of the grain, drawing sustenance equally from both the halves. The alert and the inert, the alert and the inert, the living and the non-living, the moving and the non-moving, they are all God. Everything is God's creation. Everything is God. Strengthen this faith and live in this faith. This is the prescription for the perpetual Brahmananda on this day of Aradhana Day. That is supreme bliss, which is also one of the points of the topic of today. So, they were the cornerstones of spirituality. Because once that we get impacted by these and we follow, then certainly it is going to take us to Swami's level. And finally, Swami says, all of you can become me and all of you can become Sai Baba. And starting today with the shloka, Omkara Bindu Samyuktam, Nityam Jayanti Yoginaha, Tamadam Mokshadam Chaiva, Omkaraya Namo Namah, Shuklam Bharadaram Vishnu, Shishivaranam Chaturabhujam, Prasanna Jayat, Sarva Vignopashante, Shiva Shakti Namastubhyam, Varadeshi Sai Rupini, Kavyarambam Karishyami, Siddhir Bhautime Sada, Diksham Bharadaram Satyam, Karunya Rasasagaram, Sai Ishwaram Magam Vande, Sarva Mangala Siddhaye. And one prayer in Kannada, I'll say that also, and then we continue. Te Premamayi, ಮತ್ತು ಕರುಣಾಮಯಿಯಾದ ಶ್ರೀ ಸತ್ಯಸಾಯಿ ಶಿರಡಿ ಸಾಯಿ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮನಿಗೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ನಮೋ ನಮಃ. ನೀವು ಸಚ್ಚಿದಾನಂದ ಸರ್ವವ್ಯಾಪಿ, ಸರ್ವಶಕ್ತ ಮತ್ತು ಸರ್ವರೂಪಿ. ನೀವು ಎಲ್ಲ ಜೀವಿಗಳ ಅಂತರಾತ್ಮ. ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡುವ ಹೃದಯ ನಮಗೆ ಇರಲಿ. ಸಮಭಾವ, ಸಮನೋಟ ನಮ್ಮ ಮನದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಇರಲಿ. ನಿಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ನಂಬಿಕೆ, ಶರಣಾಗತಿ, ಸುಬುದ್ಧಿಗಳು ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಬರಲಿ. ಮನದ ನಮ್ಮ ಆಸೆಗಳನ್ನು ತುಳಿದು ನಮಗೆ ಏಕಾಗ್ರತೆಯನ್ನು ನೀಡಿ ಸ್ವಾಮಿ. ಅಹಂಕಾರ, ಕಾಮ, ಕ್ರೋಧ, ಮದ, ಮತ್ಸರಗಳಿಂದ ನಮ್ಮ ಮನವನ್ನು ದೂರವಿರುವ ಹಾಗೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಸ್ವಾಮಿ. ಆಧ್ಯಾತ್ಮಿಕತೆ ಮತ್ತು ಪ್ರೇಮಗಳಿಂದ ನಮ್ಮ ಹೃದಯವನ್ನು ತುಂಬಿ ಸ್ವಾಮಿ. ನಾವು ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನು ಎಲ್ಲ ರೂಪ, ಎಲ್ಲ ನಾಮಗಳಲ್ಲಿಯೂ ಕಾಣುವಂತೆ ಆಗಲಿ ಸ್ವಾಮಿ. ಪ್ರತಿ ದೇಹವು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಎಲ್ಲ ರೂಪ ನಾಮಗಳ ಸೇವೆಯನ್ನು ಮಾಡುವ ನಮಗೆ ಅದೃಷ್ಟವನ್ನು ಕೊಡಿ ಸ್ವಾಮಿ. ಸದಾಕಾಲ ನಮ್ಮ ಮನವು ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನೇ ಧ್ಯಾನಿಸಿರಲಿ, ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನೇ ಧ್ಯಾನಿಸುತ್ತಿರಲಿ, ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನೇ ಜಪಿಸುತ್ತಿರಲಿ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ನಾಮವನ್ನೇ ಹಾಡುತ್ತಿರಲಿ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ನಾಮವು ಸದಾ ನಮ್ಮ ತುಟಿಯ ಮೇಲೆ ಇರಲಿ. ನಮ್ಮ ಮನವು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಚರಣ ಕಮಲಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಸದಾ ಆಶ್ರಯವನ್ನು ಪಡೆಯಲಿ. ಶ್ರೀ ಪ್ರೇಮಮಯಿಯಾದ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಅನುಗ್ರಹ ಆಶೀರ್ವಾದಗಳು ಸದಾ ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಮೇಲೆ ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಇರಲಿ ಸ್ವಾಮಿ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಭಗವಾನ್ ಶ್ರೀ ಸತ್ಯಸಾಯಿಬಾಬಾ ಅವರ ಅಪಾರ ಅನುಗ್ರಹದಿಂದ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸಾಯಿ ಭಕ್ತರ ಮನೆ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲೂ ಅಪಾರವಾದ ಸುಖ, ಸಂತೋಷ, ನೆಮ್ಮದಿ, ಆರೋಗ್ಯ ಮತ್ತು ಐಶ್ವರ್ಯಗಳು ಮೂಡಿಬರಲಿ ಎಂದು ಆ ಸತ್ಯಸಾಯಿ ಭಗವಂತನಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಾರ್ಥಿಸುತ್ತೇವೆ. ಶ್ರೀ ಸತ್ಯಸಾಯಿ ಇಷ್ಟಸಿದ್ಧಿಯ ವ್ರತವನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿ ಇವತ್ತು ಆರಾಧನೆಯ ದಿವಸ ಹೃದಯ ತುಂಬಿ ನೀವು ಹೊಂದಿರುವಿರಿ. ಇಹಪರ ಸುಖವ, ಭುಕ್ತಿ ಮತ್ತು ಮುಕ್ತಿಗೆ ಇದು ಸಾಧನ. ಭಕ್ತಿ ಜ್ಞಾನವು ತರಲು ನಿತ್ಯ ಶ್ರೀ ಸತ್ಯಸಾಯಿ ನಾಮಸ್ಮರಣೆಯು ಸಾಯಿ ಮೆಚ್ಚುತ ಮುದದಿ ತಾನು ನೀಡುವನು ಇಷ್ಟಾರ್ಥವ. ಇದು ಸ್ವಾಮಿ ಆರಾಧನಾ ದಿನದ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಾರ್ಥನೆ. This again we'll go back to our English version of the talk today. Sayana. And the topic chosen was living and leaving happily, spiritual bliss perpetual, sadhana aradhana, and Swami's taken from Swami's teachings. In order to cover this, which is little befitting that today, particularly being Aradhana Day, I think the entire topic is about the sadhana, aradhana, and Swami, and how all these things are interconnected. Therefore, we will stay a little bit about Swami's early history and whatever Swami's the miracles and whatever the developments, projects done, and then we will come to this topic for the last 5-10 minutes. Today is Bhagavan Shri Satyasai Baba's 10th Punya Tithi, the Aradhana Mahotsava, that is 24th April. And today is exactly 10 years since physical darshan of Swami we are missing, and we all know the heavy impact that has caused to all of us who used to rush to Prasanthi Nilayam, or whenever Swami used to go to Bangalore, Whitefield, or any other places, and we used to go and seek his physical darshan and blessings. Although in the physical aspect it is missing, but he is in the Sukshma Rupa now, because from the Stula Rupa, which you are, now he has come into the Sukshma Rupa, and in the Sukshma Rupa, the microcosmic, he is able to see more people, he is able to visit more people, he is able to prompt more people. That's what Swami was telling. He had that physical limitation and particular period, and then that's why he decided to call it off. It is not that we don't use the word people passed away or died or expired. It is Swami's Sankalpa, he takes birth. That's why it's called Pravesha. And therefore, he had entered and he willed to leave the physical body. And therefore, is leaving the physical body. That's why this living and leaving. Therefore, it's connected with that. When he wanted to come as an avatar, he descended on this earth at Puttaparthi. And then when he wanted to call it off, he called it off on 24th April 2011. And that's why it is Swami's Sankalpa. So he said for every one of us, we should live as long as we are able to live properly and honorably. And the moment that you think that yes, your role is over, and you should gracefully be able to leave, walk off, walk out, and seek Swami. And that's what should happen eventually. And that's for that all this satsanga and all this Sai bhajans and all these things are roots for us to take us to that path. So today, the Aradhana Mahotsava is a holy day, in fact. We don't grieve like the other people's tithis and all that. It is a date of remembrance and thinking of Swami and being grateful to him, offer our grateful gratitude to him. And this 24th April, we can say, is a holy day, like the Easter week just which was conducted by the Christians, and the Good Friday was there, and we saw Easter Sunday. And now this month is again Holy Ramzan for the Muslims, and their holy month, Ramzan, again they are conducting a holy month of sacrifice. Therefore, it is coming under the confluence of the Sarva Dharma kind of holy month. And therefore, and also, many a time, a holy festival becomes holier when Swami's Aradhana Day is conducted. A holy day, a holy festival become much, much holier. So Swami is an avatar. An avatar is never born, and hence there is nothing like death attached to a avatar. And avatar decides to call off, like Sri Rama and similarly Sri Krishna and all the avatars. They decided when they should go back to Vaikuntha. And then accordingly they departed from this world. And therefore there is nothing like death. And here there is nothing like marana. Because they, what is born has to die. That is the general principle. What is born has to die, but what is not born like Swami, there is nothing like that. There is no marana, it is only smarana. Therefore, we only remember Swami as the Nitya Nama Smarana. Oh, he is the Mrityunjaya. He is the conqueror of death. Where is the death for him? Nothing like death for him. He is the Mrityunjaya. He is the Dhanvantari. What diseases he can get. He is the person who removes the sorrows and diseases of everyone. He is the Sai Dhanvantari. He is the Neelakanta. And he is also called Vishakanta. That means in his throat that he has swallowed the poison. And the poison has not done anything to him. Poison itself got poison. That means the poison has to go away without harming him. That's why in Kannada it's also called Nanjunda. Nanju means poison. Nanjunu Unda. That means the person, the Shiva, the Mahadeva, who ate the poison, Nanjunda, he became Nanjunda. That's a Nanjundeshwara. The Nanjundeshwara and Nanjundeshwara is the god, Shiva. And the Shiva Mahadeva is the one who is worshipped in Nanjangod. And Swami, he says that all this, whatever he did, is a kind of a leela for him. That's why he took birth in Puttaparthi and he took Ishwaramba, the mother, as mother, and she was blessed to become the mother of Swami and the Venkaparaju as the father. And Swami's birth was on 23rd November 1926 on the Ardra star. And he did a pravesha. That's a anupravesha and pravesha. These are the words used for the avatars kind of birth. And it is similar to the Srimati Aryamba was the mother for Shankaracharya, and Shankaracharya treated her as the mother is responsible for his avatar. Therefore, similarly, when Swami was born, the illumination from Lord Narayana from Vaikuntha came and merged and entered into Ishwaramba, and that's how Swami was born. And the Swamis declared after quite a number of miracles during his early birthhood, early childhood, and lot of miracles happening, lot of the hard work that he had to undergo, sacrifice, sorrow, difficulties, we have seen in the story of Swami. And he underwent all that for the sake of the devotees to whom he has to serve later on. Therefore, after 14 years of this kind of in the surviving in the house, Swami came out of the house and stopped attending the school and threw away everything and came out of all the so-called baggages, and he declared that I have no kind of attachments now, and I am Shirdi Sai Baba, and I am the Satya Sai Baba, the previous incarnation of Shirdi Sai Baba. So Shirdi Sai Baba was the earlier avatar, and I am the Shirdi Sai Baba, and now I am Satya Sai Baba. And he went on singing the bhajan Manasa Bhajare Guru Charanam, and it was a clarion call for all the devotees in the world that they also similarly had to come out of the sorrows of their life and then through chanting of God's name become purified. And he lived in Srimati Subbamma's house. Srimati Subbamma was a pious woman, and she had loved Swami very much. And therefore, Swami used to say, she is the Yashoda Ma. Like for Krishna, he had two mothers, Devaki, from whom he was born, Yashoda, who fostered him. Therefore, Subbamma became a kind of a foster mother, and he grew as a pure vegetarian in Subbamma's house. And there, they were feeding the needy and the poor, everyone, in spite of whatever resources that they had. So when Swami, wherever he was there, Swami was the Lord Annapurneshwari also. Therefore, he went on feeding the poor and everyone. And Swami also started this Pandara Bhajans, and he was the lead singer. And therefore, he was singing about the Pandara Bhajans, which were famous at that time in that area. And Pandarapur was describing and giving the Chandrabhaga river and the Panduranga Vitala at the Pandarapur, and with ecstasy, high pitch, Swami used to sing bhajans. We have seen all bhajans of Swami was always and high pitch and high melody and high tala. The reason he said the entire environment should evolve, and it should vibrate with the singings of Swami. And therefore, Swami also, from the time of after 1940, he went on visiting number of places, the palaces of the Maharajas and the various princes, and also various politicians and industrialists and so many devotees. Because he said, for me, everyone is same. And whoever calls me with devotion from heart, I will visit them. He went on visiting hundreds and hundreds of devotees' houses. He also took so-called to visit to holy places. He didn't need any pilgrimage. For us, we require pilgrimage. For Swami, what pilgrimage is required? But he visited all the holy places and not energize them and not to make other people who visit that become more spiritualized. And he made it more holier by his visit. And therefore, like Kashi, the Prayag, Gaya, Haridwar, Badrinath, Kashi, Kashmir, Srinagar, Amarnath, Joshimath, Mathura, Vrindavan, Dwarka, Somnath, and all these places, even including in South, Hampi, and then Kanyakumari Swami visited, Madurai, Rameshwaram, and Shishailam, Kalahasti, Tirupati, Puri, see, Alandi in Pune, near Pune, Dhaneshwari, and various other things, including Udupi, Krishnamata, Manipal, Krishna Ashtamatas, Alike, and then Kukke Subramanya, Kanchi, Mahabalipuram, and Kollur, Karwar, Gokarna, so many places. Because there is no place which Swami did not visit. Because Swami, as he said, that all places belong to him. All people belong to him. See, then if people may ask, then how you have the proof? Because Swami did visit all the places and many, many hundreds of places and gave darshan to everyone, even whoever somewhere standing and waiting in the roads. He used to go stop his car and meet them. Oh, what more is required and what else we can say about Swami? Swami is the Karunamurti. And Swami's devotees were coming first from India, from different states, and then from all other foreign countries. Swami used to say far, near. For foreigner, he never used to say they are from a distance. He says far, near. So all these foreigners and who are very ardent devotees came from more than 160 countries. And today, Satya Sai movement is spread all over the world. And in fact, as our own experience, when we went to Australia in 2005, we visited a number of Sai centers in Melbourne. Similarly, when we went to Budapest 2 years back in Europe, we visited some Swami center where we could see Sai bhajans being sung very melodiously and very devotedly, and lot of rural projects also being done by each of them. Therefore, Swami started getting devotees. He said, I didn't attract, because you have to attract means you have to do a human effort. For God, he not attract. God is this Sparshamani, Akarshamani. Therefore, wherever God is there, God makes people come to them. So Swami made people come to him who were all devoted. The only connection is, like suppose we have, unless we have a Wi-Fi connection and a Wi-Fi router, we can't be connected to internet. We can't be doing the satsang live or online. And in order that we do, we need an instrument. For Swami had that devotees coming from everywhere. It went on spreading. And then Swami had even predicted that one time will come when people will have to stand at a far off distance, and then as a speck, Swami will be visible to them. It did happen to most of us who had earlier privilege, seeing from a shorter distance or a near distance. Now it did happen. Swami then came into the developmental stage of doing the water supply project, gigantic water supply, not the ordinary water supply projects, the mega projects, and even putting up dams and other things across the river Krishna, and even supplying water to the various districts of Telangana, Rayalaseema, and parts of lot of the districts of Andhra Pradesh, and even to Chennai, Madras, which was a very dry city, and there were people were having a lot of problem with drinking water. Swami even made it a point to see that the water supply, drinking water supply is given to Madras, Chennai also. And our Gram Seva became another important milestone. Then the education. The education became a next kind of his chapter of importance because without education, he says, the education is required to get knowledge. And knowledge is required for you to become a properly groomed person, for grooming yourself. And for education, instead of children having to go for long distance for schools, he started schools, Ishwaramba High School, then became colleges, then became universities, then several colleges in different places of the country, and our university campuses and women's colleges in Anantapur, Bhopal, and Jaipur, and so many things of human value enhancement programs, EHV, and all these things became one after the other the global programs in education. Similarly, medical care, because Ishwaramba, a divine mother, had asked Swami about the necessity of having the hospital arrangement for the various people in the coming to the village and Puttaparthi and nearby places of Bukkapattanam and others. So Swami had given 3 pledges to his mother. One is the drinking water supply, then second, the education for all, and then third, the hospital, the medical treatment. And similarly, we have seen the general hospital being opened in Puttaparthi and started then with the super specialty hospital in Puttaparthi, which was opened by Dr. P.V. Narasimha Rao, was the Prime Minister. And then another one, super specialty hospital in Bangalore near Whitefield, and opened by Sri Vajpayee, Prime Minister at that time. Therefore, we have seen the Swami Satsai Airport and the music college, the planetarium, the sports complex, the digital museum, the Hillview Stadium, the Hanuman statue, Chitravati River, and now Chitravati River is being beautified, and presently they are also allowing boating, illumination, sound and light show at Chitravati River. That is recently it has been done for the Aradhana Day. And the Kalparuksha and Vataruksha, we know the effects of it. Crores of devotees today doing rural seva, Narayan seva, medical seva, Vidya seva, water supply project, Veda, Upanishads, chanting, Sai Rudram, Bhajan, Sankirtana, Sai, Satyanarayana Pujas, the Homa, the Chandi Homa. Because Swami did not leave anything. He covered all the aspects of what all anybody can do. Or rather, anybody, anything, if everybody puts even 100 years, several people, they could not have completed any one of these tasks. But Swami was able to contemplate on these and complete comprehensively each one of this. The Chandi Homas we have seen Puttaparthi, we have seen in Madras, the Shatarudra Homa, the Durga Homa, the Navaratri festivals, the birthday festivals, the Vedic rehabilitation, the dramas, the Purana programs, the Bhagavata Kathas, the Bhagavad Gita recitation, the Ramayana, and the Burra Katha and Chinna Katha presentations, the Bal Vikas program about which we have spoken last time, the youth program, the youth development, youth seva, the satsang, the various lectures by renowned scholars, and the social kind of comprehensibility by getting even the industrialists and the social economists into this, and the Swami's, the convocations in the colleges and campuses, the divine lectures, and the starting of the institution of management, and where the top people now in the MBA from Swami's institution are occupying the topmost posts in most of the high corporates all over the world. There were many corporate sectors boast of having Swami students as their CEOs and presidents and vice presidents. And all this thing became possible because of Swami's divine Sankalpa. And Swami's devotees now are from various backgrounds, because there's nothing like selection of devotees. Swami says, whoever has love for me, who has devotion for me, they are my devotees. I don't select them. These are from this area, that background, this background. Only thing is, as far as it appears, from social backgrounds, some various fields, expertise, religions, and atheists, theologists, philosophers, scholars, VVIPs, sports, cinema celebrities, the music composers, the musicians, and all these different type of people. You name anybody, they're all there. They're all having Swami's touch and Swami's knowledge. It has become a common bond. It is the sublime love of Sri Satyasai Baba that which has got all these people come together as a common bond. The love of attraction, reformation, transformation, and Swami has always said, whoever has comes to me, because that's what's called Sharanagati. So whoever surrenders to me, whoever comes to me with Sharanagati, and then I will look after their welfare myself, let whatever may happen. Swami has taken this pledge. Even in the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Krishna says, the thing is, you leave everything and think of me, and I will look after your welfare. Don't have to bother about your welfare. It is always safe under me. For like many a times, Swami used to give this kind of liberation. And Swami later started telling, I will give you everything of your necessary family welfare. But do you have time to spend some time for your personal kind of empanelment to the spiritual level? So we have been born on this earth not to just live the life and go away. Live and living. The live, yes, we have been born to live. And we have been living for a couple of years, whatever our age is now. And then have we lived our life properly? This is a question mark. Swami now tells us that I have come to teach you now how you should have lived, how you should live, and in future, whatever more time that you have been granted by Swami, how best you can utilize to live well. And not only living, living and dying. The date of birth, the date of death is not the reckoner thing. It's only in the statistics in the computer. But more than that, what else? Why? While we are living, what is that we can do? And therefore, Swami says that he has shown the way. For everything, Swami has shown the way. And therefore, he says, I have come to liberate you from all these things and later grant you the mukti and the Jivan Mukta status. And that is the spiritual perpetual bliss. That means the real perpetual Brahmananda, the Paramananda state is when we enter into a state of nothinglessness. Oh, we don't want anything. We come to a nothingness state and we don't want anything. Our wantlessness should become no wants and no desire, or desirelessness, thoughtlessness, no kind of wayward thoughts and ideas. And this is what they say in the Mahavira, because tomorrow I think is the Mahavira Jayanti, Nirvana and the Nirvikalpa Siddhi. So we achieve this Nirvikalpa Siddhi through this Nirvana principle. And for Swami's avatar is the greatest case study, and that is what is a kind of an important thing for us. And also, if we can recollect, when Swami lived, he didn't only give discourses and speeches and advice and instructions. He moved among the people. He went to various places. He went to the devotees where they were there. He took up the projects. And he not only took the project, ordering somebody, he went on supervising it himself. He went on getting the necessary resources for that. He was like Swami used to say, no managing director of a company would ever do any of this. And if you take Swami as a managing director, Swami said, I am not managing director of Prashanti Nilayam. I am managing director of the entire universe. Therefore, he is the MD of the entire universe. And whatever no MD could have done, Swami did by himself going and doing and giving an example as how a person should do. How not allowing anything to chance, not allowing anything that would happen, doesn't matter. Nothing like that. He used to see and he used to get it done, organize. When there is problem, go and solve the problem. Because the role of MD is also giving direction and also then solving the problem along with the people to whom it has been entrusted, not allowing them to go stray. No stock of vaccines, don't come. No, allowing, arranging vaccine or oxygen, like whatever today we are seeing in the present chaos conditions. And Swami said everything is organized. Swami's institution we have seen, none of the things coming short and nothing going wrong. And this is what Swami's institutions has. And that itself is a case study for all of us. That means how to live, how to organize, how to arrange things, how to manage things. This is what is living, living successfully, living happily, living peacefully. In order to live, being a devotee of Swami and following Swami's bhajans, Swami's satsang program, Swami's sevadar, all these activities will make us deserving to live and live deservedly. And that is what living. Swami says, when you live, people should know, should think, oh, such a person, great person was living. He was a good Sai devotee. He was a good worker. He was doing things efficiently. Not that when somebody thinks or knows that somebody is no more. Oh, okay. However, when he lived also, you are no use. And after all, when he is no more, after all, nothing to bother. That should not be the thing. Therefore, you should leave the footprints. Footprints from where? From Swami. Swami's example. And therefore, when we are living, we should follow the examples of Swami as long as we are living by his grace. And Swami says, when the time to leave comes, that means you are lived enough. And when suppose you are asked to leave, that means it could be any job. Maybe somebody's job is terminated. Somebody has to retire because of age. Somebody has to go out because of his illness or some kind of repositioning, relocation. Any of this is leaving, not leaving the world itself. Although leaving the world is the final stage. And for which another 2-3 minutes, we will reach that topic also. So, the living and living is an important thing for all of us to imbibe. So, when living, if we conduct ourselves gracefully and properly, following the footprints of Swami and following the directives, there are so many directives which Swami has given. Maybe in the next satsang session, we will cover some of those points because it will be quite exhaustive and we will cover it next time. Now, Swami says, live happily. See, thing is, many times somebody asks, how are you living? Okay, we answer, living okay. Okay is what? Happily, otherwise, therefore, it should be, when you are replying, the replying should be the happy kind of face. The face itself reflects the mind. That's why when people say happy, but their face does not reflect it. Swami used to many times say, no, your face is not reflecting it. Face should radiate happiness. And suppose one person is happy, around him, 10, 15, 20, 30 people should also get the glow of radiation, of happiness. Happiness not only keeps that person happy, it also helps her. It also helps the happiness to spread everywhere and cover more people and radiate. And they should live gracefully. And then when the time to live, because either with age or with health or some other thing, they should be able to live gracefully also. And this living, either the job or the house or the world itself as a final thing, then how should he prepare himself for that? That's why the Bhajagovindam of Shankaracharya, already we have studied so many shlokas of that. It says how to prepare. Swami also said, prepare for your departure. Prepare for your leaving this earth gracefully. For that, if you have done your satsang, if you have done all your work properly, and if you have no regrets, no remorses, and no jealousy, all these things should have vanished by that time. When you are to live, how you should live gracefully. But when you will have grace, you will have, when you don't have remorse. Even at the time of death, if you are thinking bad about somebody, somebody is your enemy, somebody has got more wealth than you, some regrets, some litigation, some court case going on, some debts, some worries. If all these worries you are, suppose, ending your life, then again you are burdened with more and more such worries coming with the prarabdha and the sanchita karma. Our prarabdha, sanchita and agami, they are always bound together. So live with love. When you are living, live with love. When you love everyone and see Swami in all, then no comparison, no competition, no jealousy, no pride, no ego, anger, attachment, all these things, leave it. That your living should become art of living. And your art of living should be scientifically done. That means scientifically adapt to the art of living. Live and let live. You should live in such a way others should not be disturbed or affected by your life. Live and let live. Let the entire world be happy. Samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. Live as long as God wills. Again, you are not to decide as to how long you should live. Live as long as God wills. Then prepare to live happily with His grace. Like retirement from job or retire from life. End the journey of life which you had started with the grace of Swami. As your birth has been taken place by the Sankalpa of Swami, and your end also has to go by the Sankalpa of Swami only. Let this journey of life end with His mercy, with His grace, with His blessing. at the proper station or port, where it should end, not in the untimely thing, untimely place, untimely time. Let it end with Swami's grace at the proper station or the proper port, and at the Prashanti Nilayam, because every place should become Prashanti Nilayam, not only the Prashanti Nilayam of Puttaparthi. The everything, when it becomes Prashanti Nilayam, the entire world becomes Prashanti Nilayam. And then Swami is the driver or the pilot or the captain of the vehicle in which you are traveling this journey of life. And then when it is the end, and he is driving our life engine, and he will land us. But where? In his chosen heaven. He will take us and land us there. And there, let us be grateful to him. Again, follow Swami by merging with him and become Sai, and the effulgent light forever. And this is the spirit of today's talk about the Aradhana, Sadhana. And with constant sadhana, Aradhana is possible. And today being Aradhana day, we have remembered Swami and seek his grace. And in his Sukshma Rupa now, he is blessing all of us. As all of us know, seek his blessings again and again. We let us come out of this pandemic as early as possible with Swami's blessings and grace. Sai Ram to everyone. Best wishes. One bhajan now, and we are closing the session.
Saira. Sai Om, Sai Om, Sai Om. Sai Om, Sai Om, Sai Om. तन मन प्राण में साई ओम, तन मन प्राण में साई ओम, साई ओम, साई ओम, साई ओम. शयन सपन में साई ओम, शयन सपन में साई ओम. गगन पवन में साई ओम, गगन पवन में साई ओम. शयन सपन में साई ओम. नयन नयन में साई ओम, नयन नयन में साई ओम. जन्म मरण में साई ओम, जन्म मरण में साई ओम, साई ओम, साई ओम, साई ओम. Saira.
Sai Ram to all of you. And today, with Swami's divine blessings, we are closing this Aradhana session with a small quote again. Last quote is it is heard in history. Napoleon Bonaparte had said that he went to places, he visited, he saw, and he conquered. Whereas in Swami's case, Mr. Karanji of the Blitz and also many other devotees, all of us we have felt that we have gone, we have seen Swami, and we have been conquered. And therefore, Swami has conquered all of us, and let us remain indebted to him always with his blessings on all of us. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, thank you.
Sai Ram, Uncle.
Sai Ram, thank you.